First American Bank's 4th down on 4.
Welcome into 4th down, less than 24 hours away from the Monday night showdown in the Dome, arguably the biggest regular season game in Saints history. Emotionally, nothing will ever compare to the reopening in '06, but Monday night, a chance for the Saints to solidify themselves as the team to beat in the NFL, and a chance for Drew Brees to solidify himself as a quarterback worthy of not just respect, but reverence as well. As Brees and Brady go, so goes the team. As captains of their respective ships, the Patriots and Saints sink or swim with the play of their quarterback. It's a responsibility every franchise would love to bestow on their signal caller, but only a few can. And the Saints and Patriots have two of the best. That coming from a player who's caught passes from them both.
They've been blessed by God with a great brain. End of story. Most people don't think as accurately or as quickly as they do. The stuff they can see and process in a 15-second window of time, I wish I could think like that, you know? So does my wife. But at the end of the day, they're smarter than everybody else.
That wisdom allows Brees to rein in his confidence and spew humility leading up to Monday night's game.
I'm not trying to make this game any bigger than it is, and I'm certainly not trying to make it, quarterback against quarterback.
But that comparison is fun to look at. Games, yards, touchdowns, almost identical for Drew Brees and Tom Brady. But it's the jewelry, or lack thereof, that keeps Brees in one conversation with Kelly and Staubach, and Brady in another. That includes Manning, Elway, and Montana.
They won Super Bowls. It's probably the only thing I can think of because they have a few rings and he doesn't. Well, we're going to try our best to make sure he gets in that category after this year.
In the end, you want the result to be the same, and that is you win football games and you win championships, and obviously he's got 3. I'm still trying to get that first.
To talk more about Monday night's game, we bring in longtime NFL writer Brian allee-walsh. He covers the Saints for NewOrleans.com. We appreciate you coming down. Who has the better supporting cast right now, Tom Brady or Drew Brees?
Wow. Code, that's a good question.
Yeah. I think that's probably what it comes down to. I think because these two are probably a wash.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, each quarterback has enough players around him to complement what they do best. And I like the Saints group right now. I mean, if everybody's healthy, if Reggie Bush comes back healthy Monday night, it's a good group. But Tom Brady's surrounded by good players too. I mean, Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Kevin Falk, Lawrence Maroney. He's got 2 other. He's got Ben Watson. I mean, it's almost a wash. Yeah, you really can. You can find pros and cons of both groups, but I wouldn't want to pick either one. I think they complement each other, each quarterback.
I think that Tom Brady, just from a numbers and a name standpoint offensively, probably has a little more. I mean, you're telling me Drew Brees wouldn't love to have Randy Moss just throw it up. Now, Colston's great, but, I mean, Randy Moss adds that speed and the jumping ability.
The guy that I forgot about is Lance Moore. Lance isn't healthy. He's going to be missed sorely. He's not Wes Welker, but he's a poor man's Wes Welker.
Yeah.
And so when they have everybody healthy, I think Drew's got a good bunch too. I don't think Drew would trade a lot. He say he would. I don't know if he would or not. Marcus Colston would be about the only guy that he might, Tom Brady might put on his group.
Right. What are you looking forward to, matchup-wise, looking forward to more? Are you looking forward to more Brees and Sean against Bill Belichick's defense, or are you looking to see what Greg Williams might be able to come up with against Brady and Moss and those guys?
I think it's Greg Williams' defense against Tom Brady and the offense for New England. And there's no doubt about it. I think the game will be won on on those 2 units. Ron Jaworski had a great statistic that I heard earlier today on ESPN, and he talked about when Greg when he was with the Washington Redskins as a defensive coordinator, and they played New England in '07, Scott. Tom Brady threw 38 times, and Greg did not blitz him once, and New England went on to win. I think it's going to be dramatically different. One, I think, Greg's going to be having a rebuilt secondary in a sense. You got a bunch of guys that are coming off the injured list. I would say Jabari Greer and Randall Gay are going to be available along to go with Malcolm Jenkins, and Cedric Ellis will be back in the lineup. I think you're going to see a lot more pressure. but it's the risk-reward thing, you know, Scott. If you bring the heat, you better get to Tom, because if not, he's going to find somebody open, and they're going to spread this defense out. You know they're going to play 4 or 5 wide receivers, maybe an empty backfield a lot of times, and they're going to put the onus on the Saints defense to make plays in the secondary.
Well, I thought Darren Sharper brought up an interesting point, how they love to use the screenplay to kind of keep you honest. And
they're the best in the business.
He loves to play so far off the ball that could bring him closer up, which could, you know, he's always got, Greg Williams has that safety net with Darren Sharper because he plays so far back when he can bring the pressure and Sharper can make the plays. But if he's having to creep him up to stop some of those screen plays, that could limit some of the blitzing packages.
And another thing, Scott, I think to look for, I think the running games, both teams' running games has been overlooked this week. You watch. One of these teams is going to be successful running against nickel and dime pass coverages, okay? Yeah. Everybody, they're going to spread the field out, and all you need is one back there to run the ball. A Reggie Bush would be a great game for Reggie Bush, be a great game for Lawrence Moroney. I mean, I think running game is certainly going to help dictate the outcome of this game.
Kind of on that front, what do you think's the bigger get for the Saints right now, getting Reggie Bush back or getting Cedric Ellis back?
I would say getting Cedric Ellis back, because they have been more vulnerable to the run with Cedric on the sideline. However, having said that too, you know, you still need a good pass rush, and they're going to try and wear the Saints defense out. They're going to come up with a lot of no huddle, hurry up type deals, and so, you know, Cedric, it probably will not be in game shape yet. So, but I still say against the run, you're going to need Cedric to be in there to stop the middle of the defense.
I think we'll be talking about this game well beyond after Monday night. I think you could have some repercussions down the line. I think we'll find out a lot about the Saints and a lot about maybe where they are, not just this season, but as a franchise. Brian allee-walsh, you can read his stuff always on NewOrleans.com. We appreciate you coming down.
Thanks, Scotty.
All right, see you Monday. More on the Saints when we come back. We'll get a New England perspective on why a loss Monday night might not be so bad. Plus, LSU gets past Arkansas behind a golden boot. And Grambling takes care of business. Welcome back into Fourth Down. You know, the last Lombardi Trophy for the Patriots came back in 2004, but since then, an historic 16-0 regular season and the most wins by any team this decade still carry plenty of weight in the NFL. And that's why a win Monday night for the Saints would mean a lot more than just a W in the standings. 3 Super Bowl titles, all the proof Drew Brees needs. Bill Belichick has made a career of shutting down opposing offenses by confusing the opponent's quarterback. Film study is handy, but sometimes useless when preparing for the Patriots.
And when you watch film on these guys, they have a very specific plan according to the team or the offense that they're going up against. And that plan can change a lot from week to week. And so the obvious question is, as you watch film, well, how are they going to defend us?
A bigger question Monday night could be, how will the Saints defend them? Darren Sharper called Tom Brady one of the greatest of all time. His 2 targets had the attention of the Saints safety as well.
They're maybe the 2 preeminent top receivers in the league right now, as far as combination-wise, most productive.
Production from ex-Patriots, a welcome sight of late for the Saints. In Sean Payton's pursuit of what the Patriots possess, he went out and got some of their possessions. Last season, Randall Gay was signed. This season, Heath Evans came aboard. And just before the season started, tight end David Thomas was acquired in a trade.
It's easy to be happy here, and there's such great guys in this locker room, you know, with good character and that work hard and do things the right way. And it definitely makes it easy to jump in and try to fit in.
And more on the Monday night game now. We welcome in Dan Roach from WBZ in Boston. And I thought Heath Evans had a very interesting quote talking about David Thomas. He said, "I never thought the Patriots would get rid of him." As Sean Payton tries to, you know, mirror the Patriots and get this team, get the Saints to kind of look like the Patriots, he's bringing in guys from there. Talk about what David Thomas brings to a team. It's more behind-the-scenes type stuff that you don't get to talk about a lot.
Yeah, and I think Heath Evans is the same way. I think it's the chemistry stuff. Those guys have brought that up, how important the room is, getting everybody on the same page. And I think we've seen Bill Belichick kind of get everybody on that same page. They get rid of guys. You know, David Thomas is one of them, but you look at, Richard Seymour, who they traded at the beginning of the season. There's Mike Vrabel, who they traded in the offseason. And Lawyer Malloy going back several years ago. They've traded a lot of marquee players. They're not afraid to do that. But the guys that they have in that locker room are pretty good leaders, and I think Heath Evans was one. I think David Thomas was one, to go along with the Bradys and the defensive guys that we've seen over the years.
David Thomas, I think, and I asked him about this, I don't think he'll have as much animosity as maybe a Richard Seymour would. He was traded to a good team. You guys sent Seymour off to Oakland, so I'm sure he's pretty upset about that. But as the Saints are starting to get this talk about the undefeated season, you guys had the undefeated season, at least the regular season, a couple of years ago. What does that all entail, and the pressure that comes with each win over and over and over?
I think that's the magic word right there, pressure. In my mind, I remember being at the home game when they went 15-0 to beat Miami, and then being down at Giant Stadium when they beat the Giants to go 16-0. I think if you're a Saints fan, you want them to lose. I think the pressure just got so big, and I remember after they went 16-0, you're like, where's the celebration? You know, you just pulled off one of the greatest feats, the greatest feat that you can pull off in any sport, and there wasn't that genuine, yeah, this is, the Red Sox win a wild card spot and they're dancing in the streets in Boston. There was none of that, and I thought the pressure just kept building and building until they got to the Super Bowl, and maybe they weren't as relaxed as they could have been. So if I'm a Saints fan, lose one game here, 2 games, because the ultimate prize you guys won, which everybody wants, is to win a Super Bowl. So get that pressure behind you.
One of the greatest NFL seasons just couldn't be enjoyed by that team, it seemed
like.
Yeah,
and the problem was they stopped. All of a sudden they lost the Super Bowl, and everyone was like, okay, we can't celebrate this. We didn't win a Super Bowl. And it was almost like, what happened? Everyone around in New England was like, what happened?
How does this game, as the Patriots and Peyton Manning and the Colts, it's been that huge rivalry that the league always somehow manages to put on the schedule. How are the Patriots getting up for this game? An undefeated Saints team with a guy like Drew Brees, an offense that's putting up some pretty big numbers. Is it just another game, or are they kind of maybe understanding how good this team really is?
There's a lot of factors. They need wins. They're 7-3. They lost that game to the Colts. If they had won that game, they'd have been in the driver's seat for that number 2 seed, at least behind Indy, or maybe even ahead of Indy in home field advantage. They've got to get victories to try to get that number 2 seed. The other part is, playing a team like the Saints is a huge challenge for this Patriots team. I know that they look at the Saints as a great offense and maybe even a better defense than the Colts have. So I think they're excited about that. And it's the Monday night spotlight. It's Brady. They've been there before. They kind of light up in these types of games. And it's a great test for them to see again where they are and to bounce back from what happened on national TV the last time. We all know the 4th and 2 play and what happened with the Colts.
Reports out there, too, that Robert Kraft contacted Tom Benson about trying to get some extra tickets. So this is a game that some Patriots fans might even make a trip down for. Is that rare? Well, I mean, obviously New Orleans is a nice destination.
Well, think about what happened here. The Patriots won their first Super Bowl here. That's a huge thing for this franchise. And Robert Kraft, I think you and I were talking before we came on the air, Robert Kraft and that whole family has done a tremendous job since buying this team. So I think they're excited to maybe come down here and relive the good feelings that they had after the upset of the St. Louis Rams. So I think that's part of it too. And like I said, a huge spotlight game. It's New Orleans. It's a great place to come if you're a fan. So I think a lot of people are excited about this game up in New England.
Real quick, 4th and 2, 2 minutes left. Patriots are up. Are they punting to Drew Brees and company, or are they going for it again?
Great question. I think Bill Belichick, if he feels that his team is in that situation and he feels that the offense can get that first down, I think he'll go for it. I think the one thing you love about Bill Belichick, he's not afraid to make critical decisions and live with them. He did that. And they lived with them, and now they're trying to get back to where they need to be and get that bye in that number 1 or 2 seed. So, wouldn't surprise me at all if Bill went for it again.
Any coach that allows our show to get plugged all the time, 4th down on 4, of course, we love it. All right, Dan Roach out of WBZ in Boston, we appreciate your time.
Pleasure, Scott. Enjoy the game.
LSU gets